the info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. So just retain. So just retain. So just retain. Real strong man and self-control, the info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. So just retain. So just retain.
Yeah, Semen Retention soldiers.
Yeah.
We got Captain Jake in the house. What's going down?
I'm the captain. I'm here. Don't worry, everyone.
All right, we're not worried. Everybody's worries can disappear.
It's super hot in England, man. Like last few days been like a mad heat wave, and it's been really nice. But yeah,
That's all right. You got that Vikings haircut to keep you nice and cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some kind of haircut. Anyway,
I bet that will keep you cool though.
Totally. Yeah. Sometimes too cool. I'm the type of guy who's like in the middle of the summer and I'll still wear a toque, you know, just because I'm like, oh, it's a bit chilly, you know, there's a cool breeze today.
Yeah.
Anyways, fellas, today we're talking about the secrets to non-ejaculatory sex. Pretty much, unless you're living like a monk, you're going to be having sex. And because of that, it's almost nearly impossible to practice semen retention unless you master non-ejaculatory sex. And the beauty is that when you master non-ejaculatory sex, it actually becomes a way more pleasurable experience. Sex enhances 10 times, which was one of the, let's say, material side benefits that I stumbled upon while getting into this lifestyle and practicing these techniques. Also, non-ejaculatory sex is the preliminary or the foundation to non-ejaculatory orgasms, and being able to really satisfy your sexual energy and sexual desires without spilling your seed. And that way you keep all the benefits of semen retention, all the physical and mental benefits, the clarity of mind, the extra testosterone, the energy, the vibrancy, the healing benefits of recirculating the semen within the body. All of that's been able to happen and still being able to have a physical relationship with your partner. So it's tons and tons of benefits. And of course, if guys out there, I know tons of guys are, suffering right now. Some are suffering in silence when it comes to things like premature ejaculation or, just being a quick shooter, can't last long in the bedroom. In fact, the stat is that the average man right now lasts about 3 to 5 minutes after penetration in the bedroom. And it takes a woman an average about 20 minutes to get into a state before her orgasm and her pleasure is even possible. There's a lot of dissatisfaction in the bedroom. And it's funny because we're in such an overly sexualized world, right? Like there's sex everywhere. You would just think everybody's running around just doing it like crazy. Like it's just this massive orgy going on. But the stats say the opposite. More sexless marriages, more cheating going on now than ever before as well. More women cheating on their men now than ever before as well. And a lot of women complaining about not just no sex, but lack of quality sex, lack of intimacy, lack of feeling connected to their partner. And we know that porn culture has a lot to do with that as well.
Well, you've said before, I think, that the world's like pretty much obsessed with sex, but doesn't really know anything about it. I think that's the difference. It's everywhere, but there's not much knowledge about it. And I didn't even know there was a difference for a man between an orgasm and an ejaculation, like until last year, until I heard it from you. And I think most guys don't know that. They assume it's the same thing, and that, sex is geared towards this kind of quick pleasure that, almost a cheap, quick pleasure. But when you learn more about the energetical side of it, as you say, it becomes much more like a deeper experience and a more pleasurable experience, actually. And as you say, it's more about connection then. So it benefits couples and everyone is more satisfied because it's not just this cheap, quick physical, like our consumer society always wants just the quick fix, the quick thing.
That's right.
But,
and that's like, like a lot of guys, they're using their partner essentially as a masturbation tool, right? Like, it's like, there's no real love making per se. It's just like, oh, I've got this tension, or, I'm super horny. I got to go. you know, bam, 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 you just stick it in, you jackhammer until you, you know, it's kind of like, and then boom, you're done. And if you think about it, that's the way most guys masturbate. And here's the thing. The way you masturbate is the way you end up having sex. You end up training yourself unconsciously. And that's what happens with a lot of guys. That's what's happened with a lot of men, is that they've unconsciously trained themselves to be quick shooters. Because think about how most guys masturbate, right? One hand on the mouse, you know, flipping through whatever, you know, Pornhub or whatever. One hand on your, and you're done, right? And it's like, oh, relief. Oh, okay. So it's not even about pleasure anymore. So even the sex is becoming degraded so much that, and again, of course, women are really feeling it. You know, I was actually surprised when I started this work how many women started reaching out to me saying, oh man, I really would love my husband to work with you. I'd really love my husband to listen to you. I'd really love my husband to, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, first of all, tell your husband, not me, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's cool to tell me, but, and then of course, men's egos are so fragile, let's be real, that, you know, a lot of them don't want to deal with it, or they don't want to admit that there isn't actually an issue there, or to say like, you know, our egos can really get in the way and be like, oh, I don't need that. You know, I know everything there is to know about sex. Obviously, I've watched tons of porn and had sex. I obviously know about it, right? But the reality is most of us know very little about it from any kind of in-depth perspective. So anyways, let's get to a few comments and then let's get into our training. We got Krishna Baladeo saying, we are trapped on the road in between Ontario and Manitoba. Pray we make it to Calgary. Oh, damn. Yeah, well, hopefully you guys make it out there. PMO is warfare. Absolutely it is. So much debauchery. Yeah, right. What's interesting right now is, like we said, is that it's like, because pornography is everywhere, and the over sexualization of everything is just, you know, is ramping up. We would think that everybody's just having more sex than ever before, but it's actually the opposite. What it is that more people are having fake sex.
It's less connected. We're getting further apart with this obsession, the objectifying obsession. And when relationships aren't working out, they get more debauched. I think we need to try some role play. I think we need to bring other people in, like, to try and spice things up. But what they really need is to connect more. You know, that always saves the relationship through like more tantric practices, being more connected.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's like the exact opposite is happening. There's less and less going on in the bedroom, but there's more and more going on online. Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so the online world is replacing the physical world. And of course, that's what the modern kind of politicians and leaders, they're, you know, promoting. You got Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum saying, imagine it's a digital world and everything is digital and blah, 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 blah. But there's no real satisfaction in that. And that's the biggest challenge with that. So, hey, what's going on? Badadeo from Nepal. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right, let's get into it. So non-ejaculatory sex. The first key to non-ejaculatory sex is control of your breath. Okay. So think about when you're angry, when you're upset, or when you're having sex. For most men, they breathe from their chest. Right? Short, shallow breaths. Short breath, short life. Short breath, short sex section too, right? Like, you know, quick shooter. All right. So when you're breathing from your chest, first of all, oxygen isn't flowing through your body. And this breathing from the chest activates your sympathetic nervous system. And it's your sympathetic nervous system that creates ejaculation. So when you're in your fight, flight, or freeze response, that is when you have your quickest ejaculations. Because most guys are unconscious of your breath, because you're really not paying attention to your breath, most guys' mind goes right to rushing towards the ejaculation, right? They don't realize that they're breathing so short and shallow that they're literally causing their body to become extra stimulated and then they go over the edge and they end up having ejaculation. So the first thing to last longer in the bedroom, and even if you just implement this one technique, it'll make a massive difference in your sex life, is deep belly breathing. So what's deep belly breathing? Well, take a deep breath in through the nose and fill up the stomach. So you can imagine that your stomach was being filled up, and you can imagine the back was being filled up as well. So if the front and the back were like pushing out. So we're going to go deep belly in. So the back is pushing out, like the back of the like the kidneys were trying to hit the back of the chair or the back of the room, and the front belly is being pushed out. And a simple practice to get really good at this, and this is where you can practice by yourself, and you can, inside the Semen Retention Army, we train you through the process of sexual alchemy to be able to last as long as you want in the bedroom. And one of the ways to practice is by actually self-cultivation. So basically you're masturbating, but without trying to ejaculate. So you're not masturbating to ejaculate. You're not masturbating to get off. You're masturbating with a very specific intention to be able to last longer. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is to start masturbating. So you can imagine you start stimulating yourself, and then you start doing deep belly breathing. Now, what you could do is imagine like a balloon sitting in the middle of your stomach, and it's expanding 360 degrees. So when you breathe in, the front of your belly is pushing out, the back is pushing out, and so are the sides. And then you could add the diaphragms, the diaphragm being at the top here. So like the top was pushing, expanding outwards, and the bottom diaphragm or the pelvic floor is pushing bottom. So it's 360 degree expansion. Yes, you can do this breathing when taking freezing cold showers or cold showers as well, or ice baths. And it's the same technique about bringing yourself under control, controlling the body in some of the toughest times. For example, when you're in a cold shower, your body just wants to react, tighten up, freeze. But then by relaxing the body, you can actually learn to control yourself through that process. Well, similarly, it's like during sex. Sex is some of the hardest time to control yourself. So when you can bring conscious breathing into the bedroom, right away, your parasympathetic nervous system is what stays active. Your parasympathetic nervous system is when you're feeling meditative, in prayer, calm. It's easiest to speak to the subconscious mind. It's easiest to implement new belief systems when the parasympathetic nervous system is active. And that's what this deep belly breathing does. So along with deep belly breathing, you want to strengthen your pelvic floor muscles. So when you're thinking about your pelvic floor, think about doing a Kegel. So imagine you had to go to the bathroom and you had to hold your pee back and you squeeze. That's a Kegel. By doing Kegels, so squeezing, hold, and then release, squeezing, hold, and then release, squeezing, hold, and release. By doing Kegels 2-3 times every single week, you will add strength to your pelvic floor. Now, this is good for overall health and vitality. you got to think about the pelvic floor muscle as the floor of your body. So if you've got a strong floor, everything is going to stay in place. What happens with a lot of men, especially as we get older, because we sit down all day and we're driving cars all day and we're not very as strong as our ancestors were for most of us, our pelvic floors become weak, and that means everything begins to sag or crumble in. The intestines begin to move and shift out of place. Your sexual organs begins to move and shift. So by having a strong pelvic floor, you're also keeping the strength of your body, and you're keeping everything in place for overall health and vitality. Now, when it comes to sex, a strong pelvic floor also gives you a stronger erection and allows you to control your erection and therefore ejaculation. So, for example, let's say you're having sex, you're doing your deep belly breathing, then you're going, then you get up to like 80%, 90%. Simply by having a strong pelvic floor and squeezing the pelvic floor, you can literally stop the ejaculation, or you can reduce the arousal that you're feeling and control your erection. Simply by doing those two things, you can begin to last longer and longer in the bedroom. And one of the aspects too is to switch things up in the bedroom. Again, like, you don't just have to like kind of like go in and just jackhammer till you're done, right? You can go in, and speed up, slow down, rotate, bring dynamic into the bedroom. The more you're relaxed you are, then the better you're going to be in the bedroom as well, because the more present you're going to be, the more dynamic you're going to be, and therefore the more pleasurable it's going to be for both you and your partner. Physical pleasure will increase, yes, but also the emotional pleasure and the intimacy will also increase as well, because you're literally being more present, and you're not just making love from a physical perspective, but you're doing it consciously. You're thinking about your partner, you're present to her needs, you're viewing her reactions to things as well, right? If you just simply pay attention, she's going to tell you by her bodily reactions, by her face, by her expressions, what she's liking and what she's not liking. But if you're totally just in your own head and you're just thinking about your own pleasure, then you're totally going to lose the connection that you have with your partner.
A lot of times guys are just thinking about their own ejaculation, whether it's, yeah, man, I want to feel this, or whether it's like, oh no, I don't want to do it yet. Like it's like a big panic, and it makes you less connected. And almost like the more you connect with your partner, the more it's going to happen too soon. So it's like, oh, I gotta, like some guys count, some guys they put some music on and listen to the song and don't think about what they're doing. Is like, then you're not connected, just try and distract the mind or whatever. But these practices are really cool for bringing us back into our bodies. And I've actually started, I've been doing some Kegels. I need to do them more, actually. I keep forgetting that. But I've been doing some reverse ones as well, because I realized just getting more in tune with my body. I think my perineum was quite tight. My pelvic floor was quite tight. So I was doing some reverse to relax. It's like you really start to feel your own body, even those parts, and do some Kegels when you need to strengthen it, some reverse ones when you need to relax it more. And all parts of your body, you start to tune in and be like, wow, I'm holding so much tension in this part, We're so disconnected from our bodies, but you can tune in and work on those parts in whichever way is right for you. So yeah, reverse Kegels I've been trying as well. I need to relax more there, I think, as well.
Yeah, so reverse Kegels is good to mention that. Reverse Kegels. So the challenge with Kegels is some guys start to overdo it, and I've helped a few guys out come to me because they're like, I was doing a bunch of Kegels trying to strengthen my erection and get great in the bedroom, and now all of a sudden it has the opposite effect, because what happens is, like any muscle, if you overwork it or overdo it, right, you take anything to the extreme, you're going to have problems. And so what happens is some guys, they've taken Kegels to the extreme, and then what they end up doing is their pelvic floor muscle becomes tight. And when your pelvic floor muscle becomes tight, it then creates the opposite of what you want. Now anytime you get stimulated, you have a quick ejaculation because all your nerves and everything there are already tight. So reverse Kegels are when you push out. So if a Kegel's like trying to hold your pee back, imagine if you're like in a rush and you're like, come on, I got to get this pee out and, get going here, right? And you try to push the pee out, you try to make your stream powerful or something like this, right? So that's a reverse Kegel, and that's just simply by pushing out. So you could take a deep belly breath in, and then when you exhale, push out your pelvic floor, and that's a reverse Kegel. And so what I recommend is when you're doing your Kegels, I do different sets. So, and again, this is something that I just do in the morning while I'm lying down still, is I'll do, 10 Kegels, right? I'll squeeze for 5-10 seconds, relax for 5-10 seconds, squeeze for 5-10 seconds, relax for 5-10 seconds. Then when I'm done that, I'll do a set of reverse Kegels. Well, I'll push out for 5 seconds, then relax for 5 seconds, push out for 5 seconds, and relax for 5 seconds. And I just do that a few times a week. It gives you harder erections, healthier erections, and that's something that every guy should be interested in, a healthy, hard erection. First of all, it's a sign of good blood flow. A lot of guys, when guys say, oh, my erections aren't that hard, it's generally because you have bad circulation, bad blood flow. So if you have really good blood flow, then you'll notice that your erections are harder. Also, if you're overdoing it, if you're masturbating every day, if you're watching porn every day, if you're ejaculating every day, you're going to have less hard erections because you're overstimulating yourself. And so therefore, even sex itself won't feel as good. It's kind of like dulling a knife. If you use a knife every single day in the wrong way, well, when you finally go to use the knife to cut something, it's going to be dulled out, and you're not going to have that ability to cut. Well, similarly, when you're masturbating every day and you're not genuinely expressing your sexual energy in a healthy way with sex, then you're dulling out your knife. You're basically dulling out your penis. And then when you go to have sex, it's not as satisfying. Or when you do ejaculate, it's not as satisfying. Why? Because you've dulled your senses out. So here, it's just about creating a healthy relationship and expressing your sexuality in a very natural, healthy way. All right, so we've talked about deep belly breathing, keeping the sympathetic nervous system active. We talked about Kegels. Those two things alone will have you be able to have non-ejaculatory sex. However, there's still the mental part of it. And the mental part is knowing what to do with the mind. So your mind, because of pornography, because of past sexual habits, is generally trained to think about the ejaculation, like you're kind of rushing towards it. And this is where inside of Sexual Alchemy, so for those of you who go on to this video and decide to join the army, or at least go and take the free ejaculation control guide, the link is below in the description on the YouTube channel. Go take that, because I actually go into a practice, a 7-day practice that you can use to practice these techniques and really master it. But basically what you want to do is you want to learn to take your mind and anchor it inside of the lower dantian, or the solar plex chakra. So the dantian is just, if this is the belly button, think 2 fingers beneath the belly button. So you've got 2 fingers beneath the belly button. Oh, my headphones keep popping out. And then deep into the center. So you can imagine like 2 strings coming from the side and 2 strings coming from the front, making like an X. That X, where it crosses right in the middle of your belly, that is your lower dantian, or your solar plex chakra. This is like the battery pack for your body. This is where your sun or your fire energy sits. And this is literally where your power comes from as a man. That's why as men, when we're grounded, when we're relaxed, we're solid. When we're in our heads and we're all over the place and we've got And then we're kind of wavy. Then we're in our feminine energy, which is much more wavy, much more like, up and down, and much more reactive as opposed to creative or penetrative. So what you want to do is you basically want to anchor your mind in that lower dantian part while you're doing your deep belly breathing. Then, as you master these techniques, what you can do then is strengthen, or squeeze the pelvic floor with the Kegel, and then use the pelvic floor, that Kegel, like a pump. So you can imagine you're having sex, you're getting aroused, you could feel that energy, building and building and building. Then you squeeze it, and it's going to act like a pump. And then with the mind's eye, because wherever your mind is where energy goes. So if your mind is sitting in the lower dantian and you squeeze, what's going to happen is you're going to literally feel that energy draw up into the dantian. And this is where you can start to actually take the energy that's being produced through sexual activity and bring it up into your solar plex or into that stomach, and really start to fuel yourself with vibrant energy. And then as you really learn and master the techniques, then you draw that energy up the back of the spine, up and around the head, and down the front channel of the body. And by rotating your mind around what's known as the microcosmic orbit, so from the bottom of the perineum, so between the testicles and anus, up and around the back and down the front, what you're doing is you're anchoring the mind, you're rotating that energy that's being built up through sexual activity around the body. And as you relax, because your deep belly breathing will keep you relaxed, that'll also set you up for non-ejaculatory orgasms, which are super intense. At the beginning, they're quite subtle, but as you get better and better at them, they become extremely intense and completely satisfy that urge. So you don't have the need to ejaculate anymore, because you're going to be like, whoa, I'm sexually satisfied, but at the same time, I haven't lost my energy. I haven't ejaculated, so my body hasn't released prolactin into my system. Testosterone isn't being stifled. I'm not feeling like I have to recover. In fact, I can go for hours and hours and hours. One of the things, like my wife says, is, yeah, sex has changed since I've started practicing non-ejaculatory sex, because sex ends now when she's finished, not when I'm finished. So for most couples, sex ends when the guy's finished. Oh, he's done. It's over. That's it. Whether she's satisfied or not, that don't matter. It's over. But in this case, it actually switches around. It flips over, where sex now can go. She can have multiple orgasms. You as a man can have multiple non-ejaculatory orgasms, feel deep pleasure, not just physically, but also emotionally connected, feel very satisfied, which actually reduces your even overall need for sex. Like, you're not hankering for it anymore, because you're satisfied in your body. Your body feels satisfied, but you're sharp. You've got tons of energy, and all that creative life force is vibrating within you. Now you can go put that into your music, into your art, into your business, into your, other relationships, the other aspects, into your meditations, whatever you're into. You're going to notice that you've got a ton of energy and focus to be able to go create an awesome life outside the bedroom. And that's why I stick to that. Sexual mastery is the number one. It's the number one thing that a man can do or learn how to master your sexual energy. And not only do you master yourself inside the bedroom, but you begin to master yourself, and you eventually master yourself outside the bedroom as well, which means more money in your pocket, better relationships, more experiences, and ultimately more fulfillment, joy, contentment, peace, and happiness in your life. which I know so many men are looking for. In fact, we're all looking for that. That's why we do so many things in the world. We're all trying to find happiness, but very few of us turn inwards and say, what if I master myself and become a master of my body and mind? What would that do for me? Well, I'll tell you, and I don't consider myself a master at all, but just the progress that I've made has made a tremendous difference in my life, both in and outside the bedroom.
Yeah. I would have to say the same. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please do. And if you've got questions there too, please ask them, and we'll stay on a few more minutes to answer questions.
Yeah, it might just be me, but I can't seem to do a belly breath and a Kegel at the same time. It seems like they're opposite, like one's going out and one's going in. I can squeeze the perineum on a reverse breath, but I can't seem to do it by pushing the belly out, because it seems like opposite. Is it all right to do on a reverse breath? What's the difference of doing it that way?
Yeah, you can do it on the reverse breath. It's no big deal there. So basically, when you're doing your deep belly breathing, and then you exhale, when you're exhaling, then do your Kegel.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, because then it's contracting. It doesn't seem to make sense of the other way, because it's going out. How can it go in and out at the same time?
Well, you could do that, but it would just take a bit of practice. It would be a good practice to do anyways.
Yeah, on the exhale, I can do it because it's contracting.
Yeah, good question. So on the exhale is when you can do your Kegel. So you do your deep belly breathing, and ultimately, if you were engaged in like sexual activity, you can imagine, like, if you were, like, going at it, right?
I kind of need your sex doll to see this properly.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. I should go get it. Yeah. So you take a deep belly in, and then you can imagine on the exhale, you do the squeeze. And actually, when you do the squeeze, a little trick, depending on the position you're in, like missionary, when you squeeze, your erection will also go up. And that actually hits the top of your penis will hit the top of her inside the vagina. It'll hit, and that's, if you just rub the top, that's where you'll actually stimulate her G spot as well. So by stimulating and hitting upwards, you can give her mass amounts of pleasure. So there's a question: do you have videos displaying this practice? I want to try. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I'll leave it in the comments here, and you just go take the free ejaculation control guide, and you can get this entire routine and practice. Let me see here. I'm just putting it up there. So yeah, I just popped it up there, so you can go, and that link is in the comments. If you guys are watching live, if you're watching the recording, it's in the description. Go take the free ejaculation control guide. You'll also get on my email list. I send a couple emails each week giving more tips and different things that you can use for mastering your sexual energy, both in and outside the bedroom. But you can try this out. In fact, I give you a whole routine that you could try that will help you master your non-ejaculatory sex. All right, cool, everybody. I want to thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. We go live every single 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so convert that into your time zone. And you make sure you subscribe, you share the video out. We're close to 7,000 subscribers. I think we got about 80 or 90 guys to go to get to 7,000 subscribers. So please hit the subscribe button. Do what you can. Make sure you guys, follow me on Instagram under Nakula Dawes as well. I got a lot of great information there as well. I'm on TikTok now under Nakula Dawes as well. So I'm going to be putting out a lot more content and giving you guys more value. So go sign up for the free ejaculation control guide and watch out for the videos that we got coming out. If you need anything, go to my website, nakuladawes.com. Here, let me just flash that up on the screen. If I got it somewhere, I believe I got it somewhere. There it is. Look at that. Cool. Yeah, go to nikuladoes.com and you can send me a direct message with any questions you have, and I'm happy to be of help. And as always,
Soldiers
retain.
retain.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your